Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. All right, everybody. All right, back. Good to be back. Good to be back. Final segment of the show. So good to be back. Do want to go ahead and wrap with actually some conversation about the Colorado Buffaloes. Listen, I know we talk about them a lot. We've basically been talking about them every week, but here's the bottom line with Colorado. Some of you like them, some of you don't. I do think a lot of you have grown to respect Colorado now in year 2 under Coach Prime. But I bring it up because they get the win over Utah. We did a little bit of a reaction on the YouTube channel on Saturday. Want to do more of a deep dive. By the way, Travis Hunter, I believe, has put his stamp on this Heisman Trophy race. They are in the Big 12 title race and probably right now have to be considered the favorite. And let me take it a step further. If you're paying close attention, I think Colorado could get its biggest recruiting win, or Deion Sanders can get his biggest recruiting win since Travis Hunter, because there was some news on Sunday morning that is worth discussing. Let's dive into all of it because it's been a crazy few days in Boulder, Colorado. By the way, make sure you're following our new Torres on CU Twitter account. All late-breaking Colorado news. We have team-specific pages for Alabama, Kentucky, UConn, Arizona. We have just started a Colorado page, Torres on CU. Make sure you're following on Twitter. Let's go ahead and dive into Saturday. And listen, sometimes you got to take an L when you're wrong. And I thought this might be the game. I didn't think Colorado would necessarily lose because Utah has been struggling so much offensively since their starting quarterback Cam Rising got hurt. But I looked at this matchup. I looked at this game. I looked at the fact that Utah statistically was the best defense in the Big 12. And I said, I think this is going to be close. I think it's going to be competitive. I think I said on Friday's show, I had like a 27-17 type final score. I know Colorado boat raced Utah like they did everybody else. Crazy part, everybody else since, the Kansas State game, but you get the point, is the crazy part is started slow. Still don't think Colorado has played its best football. Weren't able to run the ball against a very good Utah defense. Had a couple penalties, but Colorado won this game the way that they have been beating everybody. Shedeur Sanders is elite. The pass game is elite. The skill position talent is elite. The defense gets the job done up front. And this is just a team that keeps picking up victories. In terms of the game itself, listen, I think the biggest story to me, it is clear Travis Hunter has emerged as the absolute, no doubt about it, favorite in the Heisman Trophy race. Finishes this game not only with the with 5 catches for 55 yards, but also, as you saw late, the rushing touchdown on the reverse. Listen, I think it's Coach Prime, and I thought Joel Klatt did a good job of talking about this on the game. He basically said, look, I know some people don't love the reverse when they're up by this much, but this is basically Coach Prime repaying Travis Hunter for believing in him dating back to the Jackson State days. You think about the fact that Travis Hunter, #1 recruit in America, believed in Coach Prime, believed in the vision. The vision has been seen through as Travis Hunter is now the Heisman favorite. So let's put the ball in his hands. Let's put him in position to have a highlight. Let's put him in position to do the Heisman pose, and let's put him in position to be a conversation nationally. So Travis Hunter was unbelievable in this game, like Travis Hunter is in every game. He had the unbelievable catch, what was it, late first half, I believe, where he goes up in 4 defenders, brings the ball down, has the rushing touchdown. And listen, I think he has emerged as the Heisman Trophy favorite. I don't even think it's a debate. I think something weird would have to happen. I don't know if Dylan Gabriel would have to throw for 7 touchdowns in a game. I don't know what it would be. But it's not just that Travis Hunter is playing and doing things that we have never seen before at the college level. It's that Colorado is winning these games. And I don't think we can undersell that part of it as well. Stats are cool. Doing something you've never seen before is cool. It doesn't matter if your team's 2-10 or 3-9 or whatever. You're just a sideshow. This Colorado team is winning. And like I said, this Utah defense is really good. And so for them to put up 405 yards of total offense, for them to put up 340 yards passing against the best pass defense in the Big 12, it shows you how good this team is. It shows you how improved this team is. And I'll take it a step further. We talked about it the other day on this show. I don't think the defense, Robert Livingston's the new coordinator, comes from the NFL. By the way, Deion Lewis, we had him on the show a few weeks ago. The D-line, they're playing at an insane level. Finishes the game. I know they gave up 24 points, but 9 TFLs, 4 sacks in this game. You look at the defensive front, BJ Green, transfer from Arizona State. You look at Arden Walker coming in, making big plays. The defense was flying around. The offense was awesome. And now we have to have some big picture conversations about Colorado, because with BYU's loss, Colorado is tied for first place in the Big 12. They will, again, if they win out, play for a Big 12 title. Now, it's worth noting the Kansas team that they're playing next week is playing as good a football as anybody in this league. I saw people tweeting the best 4-6 team in college football, but this Kansas team that they're playing next week is no joke, okay? They just won at BYU. The week before, they beat Iowa State, so that's 2 top 25 wins in the last 2 weeks. Kansas alone has shaken up the Big 12 title picture, but on top of that, they're a team that has 6 losses. 5 of them are by a touchdown or less. Illinois by 6, UNLV by 3, West Virginia by 5, Arizona State, who's playing really well, by 4, and Kansas State by 2. So this team is on the margins of being like an 8-2 team themselves. Instead, they're 4-6, and they are desperate to get a win. But Colorado right now, listen, man, they are winning. They are playing at an insane level. Listen, I can't say what's going to happen next week against Kansas. We'll have all week to preview that game. But what I can say, indisputably, in my opinion, they're playing the best football of anybody in the Big 12. And I'll tell you what, at some point I want to have the conversation of what would they actually look like against an Ohio State, against an Alabama in the playoff? Because I think all of a sudden this team can move the ball on everybody. If you could throw for 300 yards against Utah, no disrespect, you could throw the ball for 300 yards against anybody. Now, where it gets interesting, where I do want to wrap, is there was some recruiting news from the weekend that we need to go ahead and discuss, okay? So I know we don't talk a ton of football recruiting on this show, but something happened that we absolutely need to address, and that is that there are some recruiting dominoes starting to fall. There was a quarterback named Husan Longstreet. He's from California, was committed to Texas A&M. He decommits, and he commits to USC. Why is that important? It is because USC has had a 5-star quarterback named Julian Lewis committed for like 3 years now, okay? And why that is important is because it has been trending for a very long time that Julian Lewis would not end up at USC, and on Saturday he decommitted. Now, why is that? Or Sunday he decommitted. Why is that important? It's important because all signs are pointing towards the fact that Colorado is going to land this 5-star quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks in the class of 2025. And I'll tell you this would be Coach Prime's biggest recruiting win since Travis Hunter back in the day. Okay. And I know he's had a couple big ones. I don't want to disrespect Jordan Seaton, the 5-star offensive tackle that committed last year. I don't want to disrespect Cormani McClain, who was a highly touted player when he committed. Don't want to disrespect some of the players that committed this cycle, but I just bring it up. It doesn't get much bigger than 5-star quarterback Julian Lewis from the state of Georgia. Now, listen, I know some people would say he's a little bit small, he's a little bit this, he's a little bit that. All I know is the guy's a winner, has won at every level. He actually reclassified, so he's actually a year young for his age, but he wins a lot. And the bottom line is this could be a monster recruiting win for Colorado. And what's especially interesting, this is what I think is actually very interesting to me, is a couple of things. One, this is clearly the long-term replacement for Shedeur Sanders. Now, I don't know if he steps in and is a day one starter like Dylan Raiola at Nebraska this year. I can't sit there and say that definitively because there's guys in the program that are going to compete for that spot. But why I bring it up, why it is so interesting, is because he is going to come in and have a chance to compete for Shedeur Sanders' spot. So first of all, whenever you lose a first-round quarterback, and that's what Shedeur Sanders is going to be, and you replace him with a 5-star in the following high school class, it makes it very interesting, but all signs are pointing towards this kid, Julian Lewis, committing to Colorado. I think it's worth noting, even while he was committed to USC, took 2, 3, 4 visits over the course of the spring, the summer, the fall to Colorado. He was there a few weeks ago. Remember, there was the famous picture on social media. If you follow all these Colorado pages, including Torres on CU, make sure you're following it. If you follow all these pages, there was the picture of Shedeur Sanders handing Julian Lewis a set of keys. Why that's, of course, significant, we all know, is that Shedeur Sanders basically, quote unquote, handing the program to Julian Lewis. So listen, 5-star quarterback, looks like he's going to commit. As we record here, it's not official. Julian Lewis actually took a visit to Georgia this weekend. He ain't going to Georgia. It's going to be Colorado. Lastly, let me say this. I think, and by the way, I want to say this actually before we get to the other recruiting stuff. If Julian Lewis ends up flipping to Colorado, this is important because I think it closes the loop on a conversation that people keep having. I keep seeing people say, Coach Prime's leaving Colorado after this year. His sons are going to be gone. Travis Hunter's going to be gone. And he's either not going to coach anymore or he is going to go to another college. One, there's not going to be any college that opens that's going to be a good enough job for him to leave. Florida State ain't opening. Florida ain't opening, blah, blah, blah. Two, as I've said, I think he's happy in Colorado. But three, and this is the important part, and I know what people say, oh, the portal, they can transfer, they can follow him. No. I think he's staying, and I think he's building something for the long term. Now, I can't promise he's going to be there for another 10, 15 years because nobody knows what you're going to be doing 10 years from now. But it appears clear to me he is building something. He is staying, and there is going to be life after Travis Hunter, life after his sons, Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh Sanders, go to the NFL. And I think that's where it gets interesting, is that Julian Lewis, to me, is a sign that they are serious about building something there. This isn't a gimmick. This isn't a one-off deal, and that he's leaving as soon as his sons leave. I think he's building something for the long term, which brings me to, he had a monster recruiting weekend this weekend, okay? So had a bunch of high-profile visitors on campus. How about this? A 5-star offensive lineman, Michael Carroll, committed to Alabama. Top 15 player in America, number 1 interior offensive lineman, according to 24/7 Sports. He was on campus. Not saying he's going to flip, but I think it's worth noting. London Merritt, 4-star defensive end, committed to Ohio State, was on campus. Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I apologize if I butchered it, is believed to be a Michigan lean, was on campus for a second time in a couple weeks. Alex Graham, defensive player, believed to be a Michigan lean, was on campus this weekend. So I could go on and on. This isn't a recruiting show, but I just bring it up because he could be on the verge of putting together a monster class. I think there's more news coming. Colorado beats Utah. That's kind of cool. Playing for a Big 12 title, that's even cooler. But this recruiting stuff could really, really, really pick up steam going forward. And to me, that's the most incredible part of this. All right, listen, here's the bottom line. I'm going to get out of here because it's Sunday. I got some stuff to do. It's a busy, busy, busy weekend, but I appreciate everybody listening to the show. If you're not subscribed to the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast, please make sure to do so. Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Music, wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure that you're subscribed. Also, make sure to rate and review the show. Go ahead, give us a quick 5 stars. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, all that good stuff. Make sure you're following on social media at Aaron_Torres on Twitter, at Aaron Torres Pod on Instagram, Aaron Torres Podcast Questions at gmail.com, Aaron Torres Podcast Questions at gmail.com. All for today's show. Appreciate your support. It is time for me to get out of here. Shout out to Torrin Craig. Shout out to Rachel, who hates my voice. Shout out to JJ Reddick, you F-head. Unblock me, bro. I'll be back Tuesday. Aaron Torres Pod. We'll talk hoops this week, by the way. Too much football. Had to talk football.